Eckhart was born around 1260 at Hochheim on the River Main near Gotha. Very little is known about Eckhart's early life because not many things were documented in that day and age. Eckhart was exposed to the Dominican order at a young age and entered the Dominican priory at Erfurt as a youth. After professing his vows, he was sent to Paris to study. From Paris, Eckhart went to the Studium Generale established in Cologne in 1248 by the great Dominican teacher and bishop Albert the Great. At the Studium Generale, he studied philosophy and theology. He was most respected amongst his peers, and by 1298 he was elected prior at Erfurt and vicar provincial of Thuringia. Throughout his life, he has held many positions in the church as well as in schools. Just like the great Dominican Thomas Aquinas, he held the Dominican chair of philosophy in Paris from 1311 to 1313. At this time, Eckhart traveled to Paris for the second time. This is where he apparently sought to complete the efforts of his life work. At the Cologne school, his projected work, which was to contain an opus propositionum, which was a work of propositions of more than 1,000 propositions divided into 14 treatises, an opus questiononum, work of questions dealing with theological questions and issues, and an opus expositionum, which was an expository work. This was a vast biblical theology consisting of a book of commentaries and a book of sermons. Only fragments of the first and third parts of this book have been found, but nothing has been found of the opus questiononum. Eckhart was not destined to finish his projected master work, because having completed his second magistral residence at Paris, the Meister was recalled to Germany. Eckhart was a widely known preacher throughout Europe and in other places. He began his preaching ministry among the most remarkable group of mystics of the 14th century in Germany. By 1324, he became the first professor of his order at Cologne. At the age of 66, Eckhart was summoned on charges of heresy before the Archbishop of Cologne, Henry of Wurmberg. It resulted in the papal bull in Agro Dominico from Pope John the 22nd, issued on March 27, 1329, condemning 17 articles from his syllabus as heretical and 11 more as suspect of heresy. Eckhart desperately tried to defend himself, but to no avail. Appealing to the Pope would be his only hope. The great teacher, philosopher, and preacher, along with many of his other friars and colleagues, began the 500-mile walk into Avignon. In the end, Eckhart died of old age on January 28, 1328, before the final verdict was decided in Avignon. Eckhart's preachings and teachings still live on today. Some of the major themes he focuses on are finding God within, the birth of the Word, being utterly passive, the dark way to God, learning to be passive, being firmly fixed in God, giving up all externals, letting go, as well as detachment and the nothingness of God. Some of his most famous quotes are, "If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. Truly, it is in the darkness that one finds the light. So when we are in sorrow, then this light is nearest of all to us. He who would be serene and pure needs but one thing, detachment. A just person is one who is conformed and transformed into justice." Through his sermons, writings, and other works, Eckhart has achieved the status of a great mystic. Meister Eckhart is one of the most influential philosophers and Dominicans of his time, and that's why we stress his great importance.